LinkedIn presents.
Franklin captured public attention in part because he conducted understandable, even fun experiments. Who could not comprehend flying a kite? Yet adding to his popular appeal, he hid his brilliance behind a trickster's sense of fun. As an example, he placed a slight electric charge along the metal fence surrounding his Philadelphia home, so visitors would get to experience electricity directly.
Hello, friends. I'm Michael Kovnat, and this is the Next Big Idea Daily, your quick dose of insights from the world's brightest thinkers, served up fresh every morning. Now, speaking of bright thinkers, how much do you know about Benjamin Franklin? You probably know the man was a lot of things: statesman, diplomat, inventor, printer, postmaster, founding father, and legendary wit. But at his core, Franklin was a scientist, an insatiably curious explorer who approached the world with wonder and a mischievous experimental spirit. In the new book, Ingenious, a biography of Benjamin Franklin, scientist, Richard Munson peels back the layers of Franklin's public persona to reveal a brilliant mind driven by an unquenchable thirst for understanding. Richard has written several biographies of innovators, and in this one, he offers up timeless lessons about curiosity, humility, and the joy of discovery that are as relevant today as they were in the 18th century. So stick around to hear Richard share what we can all learn from Ben right after this quick break.
From LinkedIn News, I'm Leah Smart, host of Everyday Better, an award-winning podcast dedicated to personal development. Join me every week for captivating stories and research to find more fulfillment in your work and personal life. Listen to Everyday Better on the LinkedIn Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Have you been feeling the effects of stress, burnout, or anxiety at work? Listen to the Anxious Achiever podcast to rethink the relationship between your career and your mental health. Get The Anxious Achiever wherever you find your podcasts, and walk away with practical advice you can implement today.
Hi, I'm Richard Munson, author of Ingenious, a biography of Benjamin Franklin, scientist. I've been asked to share 5 key insights from my book, which I have to admit I interpreted to be my thoughts on what Benjamin Franklin would recommend. And the first is embrace curiosity. He was rarely satisfied with conventional wisdom, let alone dogma, so he literally chased after nature. There was a horse ride with some friends one afternoon in Maryland, and his friends spotted a little whirlwind that was beginning to raise dust. And the key line from his writing that day, Franklin declared that the rest of the company stood looking after the whirlwind, but my curiosity being stronger, I followed it. So he referred to the common opinion of the day that if you shot a bullet through a waterspout, you'd break it up. So he got very close in riding his horse and used his whip frequently against the whirlwind, but to no effect. So several years later, England's Royal Society printed Franklin's notes and observations about those whirlwinds on land, as they're called, waterspouts on sea. And James Cook, the famous British explorer, commended Franklin for the most rational account I've ever read of these large eddies and natural phenomenon. Revel in discovery. Franklin's notes reveal this refreshing inquisitiveness. They're filled with expressions of happy discovery. He would say, it's amazing to observe, or the experiment more than surprises us. So reflecting on the unforeseen thrills associated with his tests, he wrote, "Though we miss what we expected to find, yet something valuable turns out, something surprising and instructing, though unthought of." Keep an open mind. Franklin's laboratory notes display a certain humbleness. He warned a colleague, for instance, that his writings might bring you nothing new, and he admitted what he didn't know. He said, "I'm little acquainted with the nature of magnetism, and I'm much in the dark about light." He argued that a scientist must be willing to question his own theories and tolerate challenges from others. "I must own when I have doubts about my own hypothesis," he said. He said, "Part of practicing science is to construct many pretty systems that we will soon find ourselves obliged to destroy." Give credit. Franklin regularly applauded his clever and crafty colleagues, and most of his experimental descriptions referred to we or us. When his role was later challenged by some of his political opponents, his team members responded that Franklin had the undoubted right to all of the honors he received. One partner went out of his way to say that no one should deprecate the merit of the ingenious and worthy Mr. Franklin. So Franklin actually encouraged others to build on his short hints and imperfect experiments to obtain more complete discoveries. He even suggested imperfect experiments oftentimes have good effect and that they excite the attention of the ingenious to the subject and so become the occasion of more complete discoveries. Maintain humor. Franklin captured public attention in part because he conducted understandable, even fun experiments. Who could not comprehend flying a kite? Yet adding to his popular appeal, he hid his brilliance behind a trickster's sense of fun. As an example, he placed a slight electric charge along the metal fence surrounding his Philadelphia home, so visitors would get to experience electricity directly. He even proposed a party of pleasure on the banks of the Schuylkill, to which electrical charges would cook the meals and run through the river to ignite alcoholic spirits in the opposite banks.
Thank you, Richard. Okay, listeners, you can get yourself a copy of Ingenious at your favorite bookstore. And for more great insights from the latest nonfiction, head on over to your app store and download the Next Big Idea app. It's got thousands of big ideas from hundreds of authors. I'm Michael Kovnat. See you tomorrow.